Hello, this is Greg English. I'm the author of the Scantius book scanning application, and this video will take you through doing the color calibration with ICC profiling using a FADGI 19264 chart that you see right there. Now, we're going to assume you've already done a color calibration and light correction, but the ICC profiling will require another color calibration. But first, let's turn it on. We have to go into admin. There's two things we have to do here to enable the ICC profiling. First, under output options, since ICC profiling involves output, we want to turn on ICC profiling. Now, what this does is it both enables you to use ICC profiles, but also if you have a FADGI chart, to generate an ICC profile. I don't know if you noticed or not, but when I turned on ICC profiling over here in the control panel, we now have the option to enable a camera and a right ICC. The right ICC is the color space you want to generate when you're scanning. So you notice when I turn it off, it goes away. So by default, you won't see those options. That enables you to turn off and on the ICC profiling while you're scanning. So again, enabling ICC profiling always allows you to use profiles, but with a FADGI chart, you can also generate profiles. To generate profiles, we need another application called Argyle. So we'll go down here to the support expander, and you'll see when you turn on ICC profiling, this Argyle option comes up. Now this is a open source application that generates profiles that you can download via Scantius. Now, if it's not downloaded, the version there will be 0.0. And so if you need to download that subsystem, just do a check for updates, it downloads it, installs it, and then you can generate profiles after your calibration. So we're all set here. I'll close the support expander, go up and open the cameras expander, which has calibration, open it up. Now what we'll do, we'll automatically detect the FADGI chart. It looks for the white edges of the chart there, and we want to isolate the chart instead of seeing all this background here. That's what this isolate button does. It just shows the chart. Now, that's exactly the same as doing a right click on live view and defining live view as if you want to do it manually. You just go in, turn on define live view, drag, and you can define the area manually that way. So the isolate button is just a quick way of doing it. So you can toggle between full view and isolate. The second thing we need to do after isolate is make sure we have no image filters turned on. We want to do calibration on an unenhanced image. So far we've been dealing with general calibration setup, but what we want to do is generate a profile during calibration with this video. So I'll turn that on, and you'll see it turns on the camera and right ICC profiles. So there's a default one called CBK OS A2, and then the default color space is Adobe. Now you have the option to generate a file name with the date embedded in it, and that's what that date in profile name checkbox is. Otherwise, you can define the name as a static name, a fixed name. But for the sake of this demonstration, I think I will use the date and profile name instead of a fixed profile name, but I'm going to customize and change the fixed portion of the name from calibrate to Greg. So I'll have Greg underscore current date as my profile name. Now notice it doesn't immediately change it down here in the camera ICC field. It won't do that until it has a successful calibration and a successful generation of the ICC profile. So when we kick off calibrate, it'll prompt you if you've said you want your date as part of the profile name to make sure that's what you want. And if it already exists, it'll also prompt you, do you want to overwrite? Now, take a look over on the left side of the application window in the control panel, and you see the ICC profile in red. That's because it hasn't been generated yet. When you see something in red like that, it hasn't been generated. Back over on the right side, you notice the ICC profiling is turned off during calibration. As I said earlier, you don't want any enhancement filters turned on or ICC profiling turned on as you're running Calibrate, because part of the calibration process is generating the profile that you're going to use for production scanning. So you can see the camera settings change. We've got exposure, red, green, and blue for gain, which affects the white patch, and red, green, and blue offset, which affects the black patch. I've covered this in another video. What I'm going to do now is skip ahead to where it's generating the profile. Welcome back. We have a successful calibration. Took 92 seconds. And at the end of calibration, we always get a scanned image. And in this case, since we turned on generating a profile, it takes that image and sends it to Argyle, that application that generates ICC profiles. And we have to wait. It takes about 60 seconds, but you'll just see a busy cursor and this ICC profiling phase because it's a completely different app. And what I'm going to do here, I'm going to jump ahead to when the profiling is complete. Okay, we have a successfully created profile named Greg 2024-10-7. And if you notice, now the camera ICC file name has changed from that default to the custom one that we just created. So we now have profiles generated and color calibration complete. We do want to save this as a default configuration, which it'll prompt when you exit calibration. I already had one out here. Let's override it. Notice over here on the left in the control panel, let's turn on our profiles for production scanning. And oh yeah, we need to turn our image filters back on over on the right there, since we turned them off in calibration. And now you're ready to scan.